All right, another victory Monday. So let's go back a week. Last week against the Ravens was so frustrating because they just got their butts kicked. It was
But it was even
sad.
worse, wasn't it? To me, it was even worse than that. If like we gone in and just played terribly, and the Ravens had blown us out by 21 points, like I wouldn't even be that mad about it because you just lost. But when you lose by 2 points and it feels like 100, do you know what I mean? And you no one to blame but yourself in a totally winnable game. That's even worse. So
Exactly.
frustrating.
They should have won that game. They
Yeah,
should, yeah. The fact that they should have won that game and gave it away, and then they just got their butts kicked in the end of the game. That
yeah.
was depressing. To me, this game against Carolina was also frustrating because they look so good. And my thing is, why can't we see this all year? Why did we
Yeah.
wait till the end to see this kind of performance?
Because we don't play Carolina every year.
I mean, I think that's a valid point, but I will say this, and Allison and I talked about this last week, that, people are really making light of Carolina, but Carolina is a team that's very much on an upswing right now with their new interim head coach. Do you know what I mean? They've changed how they're doing things. They call this offensive package they use Arby's because they have the meats, because they have all these big guys on the up front of their offensive line, and that's what they use to run the ball. And it's been super effective. So I went back and read some of the media from the Carolina players after the game and how frustrated they were that this thing they've been doing, wasn't working against the Steelers. I think they felt like they would have success. The Steelers hadn't seen it before. You know what I mean? They felt like they would be successful in using it against us, especially as poorly as we played stopping the run in the past 3 games.
The narrative going into the game was, oh, the Carolina runs it so well, and the Steelers' run defense is so bad. Obviously, they're going to run all over the Steelers.
I thought they were going to do the same thing, I'll be honest with you, but their run defense has been so inconsistent. It's like 1 week it's great, like, against the Ravens, they just ran all over us.
Right.
You know what I mean? But Carolina, so we were sort of, shell-shocked, and probably a lot of us expected the same thing from the Panthers, and the run defense showed up. So it's like, it's hard to...
It feels so inconsistent because it's not like it's been like getting better every week. Do you know what I mean? Like it was good, it was bad, it was good, it was bad. Do you know what I mean? You heard like Highsmith talk today and said like, they knew what to expect with Carolina, and they knew this was going to be an issue. So they came up with new packages and schemes to try to like stop their run defense or run game, and it worked. But like you knew Baltimore was going to do that. Like, so what's the difference between this week and last week? Baltimore's a way better running team than Carolina. So were you just like, man, there's no point in playing and we can't win, or what?
Well, the difference is, I don't know. I don't know what the heck happened against Baltimore. That was just pathetic performance.
Yeah.
But when you get your butt kicked, you're gonna respond. When you are embarrassed, they were flat out embarrassed. Baltimore did everything but put up giant billboards to say, "Hey, we're gonna run right now."
Yes.
And they still couldn't stop it. So one or two things was going to happen. Either you have people that like there's nothing you could do because your people suck, or you say, okay, we got smacked in the mouth, we're going to come back. And that's what the Steelers did. They came back.
Yeah.
Also, I think Larry Ogunjobi has a lot to do with this, and I think he's playing hurt, and maybe he just felt a little bit better this past game.
That's a good point. That's super valid. I was glad to see Mitch bounce back this game. I was really concerned that those kinds of losses with all the interceptions really get in your head, and so I was worried about him going into the game this week, but I thought he looked really solid and good. I mean, he seemed to shake off whatever was going on with him last week. At least didn't let it worm his way into his brain.
And what you say about Larry O is I sort of feels the same for TJ Watt. You know what I mean? He's starting to feel better. He got his back. And I think that overall, as getting pressure on the quarterback, him being healthier, you know what I mean? Like he's not going to be healthy 100% for the rest of the season, but week by week he's getting better, and I think that's showing up.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. This offense looked amazing at times. My goodness, Mitch was hitting open receivers. The running game was looking good, and I think those two things are just connected to the offensive line. It's actually playing well.
21 plays, 21 plays. I mean, that's like unheard of.
It's like one of the longest drives ever.
Yeah.
Amazing. Just that was so impressive how they could run, they could pass. And you know what? Like, people are saying, well, Mitch Trubisky should have stayed in there all year. No, because this wasn't happening earlier in the year.
We didn't see this.
Now, what happened early in the year? Mitch couldn't throw and they couldn't run. Why is that? Probably because the offensive line sucked. Well, now the offensive line is better and they could do those things.
Right. Yeah.
It's very simple.
Right. And I think the same could be said about Naj. He was injured. You know what I mean? He's playing injured. He's now playing so much better. And I'm looking up the stats on that drive. So courtesy of Jim Wexel, it was the by play snaps, it was the second longest drive in the NFL since 2001.
Wow.
But in Steeler standards, the longest since 2007.
The longest. Yeah. I knew it was something like that. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Now,
and not that you want to be going 21 plays every, I mean, that's, you know what I mean? Your offense would never recover, but not that you want to do that every time, but just to feel like we could sustain a drive is unbelievably refreshing. And I think to your point, Joe, about people saying, we should have left Trubisky in, you can only deal with the hand you're dealt at that time. Do you know what I mean? So as a coach, you can only work with the information you have at the time. And this isn't what was happening. If this was what was happening back in September, he would have never been pulled out of the game. I mean, obviously he would still be playing and Kenny would still be back up. Do you know what I mean? It would have been a totally different situation. So whether he's able to sustain this or if this is a flash of brilliance is who knows? I don't know if he'll even get a chance. I assume Pickett will go back in.
Yeah. I think this is what they wanted. This is what they wanted all along.
What we all wanted.
Strong run game behind Najee. Occasional just, good passing, then the defense doing just enough. This is what they wanted all along. Unfortunately, it took us till mid-December to get there.
Yeah, this is the blueprint that they want to play the rest of the season on, and definitely into next season. If Canada's gone, hey, you know what I mean? Like they can still use it. There's no reason why they can't still use the same blueprint because it's working, or it worked yesterday versus Carolina.
Yeah, build off of what's successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The other strange thing is it's not just Najee. It's Najee and Jaylen Warren. And Warren is more than holding up his end of the bargain. We haven't had a good backup running back in God. How long has it been since we had a good backup running back? It's been a long time.
It's been a long time, and they are a good like tandem duo to me. Do you know what I mean? It isn't like it used to be where somebody comes in to spell somebody and they're okay. You know what I mean? They're really playing off of each other nicely and fitting into the offense nicely.
I
think it's a big part of why Naj is getting better.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder, was it like D'Angelo Williams, Le'Veon Bell, maybe? Maybe that was the.
Yes. That was a really good duo. Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to think too.
Yeah. I think maybe that was.
I was thinking back further, but I think you're right. I forgot about Williams.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people have.
But,
I know. I love him.
Yeah. Now we have. Yeah. Now it's probably going to be Kenny Pickett back starting against the Raiders. Okay, man, keep it going because Mitch actually played really well.
Yeah. He did, and that's got to feel like some pressure to Pickett. You know what I mean? It's got to definitely feel like some pressure. I mean, he's done well by prior standards, but he wasn't sustaining these kinds of drives. I mean, we were just driving down the field at will. Now, I mean, I do think we have to keep in the back of our minds that it was Carolina, and they're not like a top 5 defense or something. But regardless, we were playing lots of other bad teams and not able to do anything. So.
Yeah, and first down, they had 16 of 9. They converted 16, I think, of 19 first downs, which was
unbelievable.
I think the NFL average is like 40%, so that was well above that. So
right through the roof on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was
And
amazing.
conversely on stopping third downs, because I think they held them to like 4 out of 12 or 16 or something like that. I looked it up earlier today.
Right.
Yeah. The other thing is, this was Diontae Johnson's best game. I mean, he caught everything. He literally 10 catches, 10 targets.
So much he would get in the end zone. I was, oh gosh, he was so close a couple times. I really wanted to see him like get it out of the way. You know what I mean? So we can quit talking about it.
Yeah, it was cool to see Warren get in the end zone though. That was really
it cool. Was. Yeah, he deserved that. Yeah, that was good.
It's really funny that Diontae Johnson got all those targets, and considering that we're led to believe that he and Mitch Trubisky hate each other and that they're trying to kill each other.
The media was that he only wanted Mason, you know what I mean? Right. He felt like Mason. I mean, I think
that's a narrative. He said it himself.
I know. He said it.
But well, he said I like to see Mason out there. He didn't say Mitch Trubisky can go to hell and I never want to see him again. Yeah. Maybe he says that privately, but
right. Who knows? But I think it gave people the opportunity to like inflate that old story about whatever the beef was between the two of them and drag that back out and make it seem related. Who knows? I don't know if it is or isn't, but I was glad to see him have a good game.
Yeah, me too.
And George Pickens, well, I guess it's progress. He had 5 targets. Whoa. That dude should be targeted.
Hard to understand when he catches balls like the contested one he caught during this game. Why aren't you throwing to him more often? I mean, I guess you don't want to take like a risk throwing into like double coverage all the time, and he's getting covered pretty well by the defense, but still, I mean, there's some times he seems open.
If there's single coverage, you throw to him. That should be the rule. I don't care what's going on. If there's single coverage, you throw to George Pickens, and he's probably going to come up with it. If it's like he's got a
football magnet in his fingers or something. I mean, it gets anywhere near his hand, and he's able to bring it in. It's unbelievable.
I didn't think that first contested catch, like he's George Pickens, but I still just the way, like it just didn't look like he was gonna. Like I was like, there's no way he's gonna catch that.
I know,
and it was just amazing.
It's like he was playing keep away with someone.
Watch it like 3 times. That was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
You can't catch it. You can't get it. Come on. Try to get it. I'm right. It's right here. Nope. The other thing is Marcus Allen. I don't want him on this team anymore. You that was one of the most boneheaded things I've ever seen any player do.
It's really stupid.
What the heck was that?
Yeah, it wasn't like Diontae. Like Diontae, it was a passionate kind of like
in the moment.
He literally walked over to the other side of the field to the end of the other team's huddle. Like how much, he showed no restraint whatsoever.
Apparently, he tried that several times, and even the referee warned him, and he still did it. That's just weird.
I just don't. I mean, you got to know better than that. That's an active decision. Like you said, in the heat of the moment, people do stuff. You get fined. It's, not good, but it's understandable at least. This wasn't even understandable. Like there's no way you can excuse it. I mean, the whole time you're walking over there, you got to be saying in your head, like, I know I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah. And it was during a commercial break too. So they had a little bit of time. It wasn't like it was an immediate thing. It was
that's what I mean. Yeah. I mean, you made like a whole choice. Like you waited for a moment, you went and did it. Like, and it just doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now we're on to the Raiders on Christmas Eve at 8:15.
The Raiders.
Why on Christmas Eve? That's dangerously close to when Santa's coming.
Yeah, there's might be some kids waking up sad on Christmas morning, hungover parents, angry.
Right.
The kids hope that they win.
Because kids get up early on Christmas morning. It's like, no, honey, no, please.
Santa's not coming until 9 a.m. this year.
Right.
Stay in bed.
Santa told me when he was getting the milk and cookies that he's coming late. So just let mommy and daddy
Steelers
sleep.
fan. Santa's a Steelers fan. He can't go till after the game's over. So you got to let us sleep a little later.
You know who else is a Steelers fan? Almost everybody in that Carolina stadium.
Oh
my gosh.
Another takeover.
Yeah, yep. Allison and I saw that in Atlanta. It was unbelievable. And then again in Carolina, I mean, just full of Steeler fans. I had a couple friends there.
Yeah, I feel like as long as the Steelers don't pull something like the Patriots did the other day and, try and make something out of nothing in the final second,
Yeah.
Chandler Jones intercepts the ball, takes it in for a walk-off touchdown. I feel like the Steelers will be able to.
I got to tell you, this is one of the craziest, best weekends of football I've ever seen.
Really was.
Between the Vikings game and then that Patriots Raiders game, which was total insanity.
Yeah. Steelers game and then Kansas City coming back to win in overtime. I mean, there's a lot of good games.
There was another overtime game. So it's amazing.
I thought Houston had that one in the bag too, but
they're Houston.
Cowboys got beat by the Jaguars. Just another example of how weird this season has been.
It's been a strange season that way. Definitely the teams that I had predicted at the beginning of the year, other than Kansas City and Buffalo, were still doing really well. Some of the other teams that I thought were going to be doing much better are really struggling. And the Vikings, who were on a tear and doing so great, are sort of have fallen apart a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, they're just lucky. The Vikings are the definition of lucky.
Yeah.
It's like when you're that good in one score games.
Yes.
That's good, but there's also some luck there involved. So
there is. It's the same thing that happens to us, except they had them going in their favor instead of the other way around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were in that same situation just as many times as they were. We just didn't come up with the win.
And it's one of those things where it all evens out. They call it regression to the mean.
Yeah.
Last year, the Steelers, and I think the year before that, they were really good in one-score games, mostly because of Ben Roethlisberger. And you knew, it's like, okay, if you're really good at that, and then eventually it's going to come down, you're going to be really bad at that, and that's what we're seeing this year.
Yeah. It's the ebb and flow of football. I think it's what some of the younger fans especially have a hard time understanding. Do you know what I mean? It's not sustainable at that level forever. Do you know what I mean? You have to lose some to be able to rebuild. It's not like baseball, where you can just buy these teams. And so there's some give and take to it, and you have to have some downs to have some ups. Some teams get more downs than they need.
Yeah. But that's the thing. This is a down year, and the Steelers have a game like that basically says, okay,
it's almost perfect.
It's almost perfect. It's like,
okay,
maybe we're going to be all right. We don't have every single piece we need, but we're close. So maybe if we have a really good off season, we'll be really good next year.
Games like this past weekend make me feel like that really shows the team's leadership, where the gaps are, where the things are that we need to work on. Do you know what I mean? Those games where it feels like nothing goes right, like the quarterback, the whole O-line, the entire defense, special teams, everybody's struggling. It feels like that's so hard to figure out where your weaknesses are. But when you have a game like last weekend that goes so well, I feel like you're able to better pick out some of those little weak spots. Do you know what I mean? Like left tackle.
I feel like
fix it.
But I also feel like Carolina showed that we need a corner. We need a shutdown corner.
Ooh, big time.
A lot of them showing that we need a shutdown corner, but I feel like that was just kind of screaming. If there was any position, like you said, they played so well. It's like, oh my God, we have all the pieces we need. But I sort of feel like if there was one position, it was
But you're right. That's where it shows that to me. That's where it shows those little areas, because other things are going well. So then you're able to see those areas that aren't quite as strong. And I hope that those are the things that we go out and address this year in the off season.
You get a stud offensive lineman, a stud defensive lineman, a stud cornerback. You're good.
Mm-hmm.
You're good.
In much better shape. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're going to have the picks to do it, which is really nice. Thank you, Chicago.
Yes.
Thank you, Chicago.
Thank you. And we have poor Chase Claypool.
I'm telling you what, the Bears should have. I'm surprised they haven't called 911 and had the Steelers GM arrested for theft, because you traded. It's going to be maybe possibly the 33rd pick in the draft, basically another first rounder for Chase Claypool,
who's hurt, and he hasn't made any impact. They've lost every game since he's been traded.
Yeah,
so not that they expected him to be an instant contributor, bang, but like a rookie kind of thing. But yeah, they got fleeced for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all knew that it was a really good, worked out beneficially for us. But I think, as the season's progressing, you're just feeling that impact more and more of just how good of a deal it was. I mean, it looks like a really genius trade from Omar Khan's perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. That was genius. Yeah. Now we have three really good picks in the first 2 rounds. Like,
yeah.
Ooh, there you go.
It's really helpful. I mean, this is the stuff we needed. You know what I mean? This is why you have to not do so well for a little while. Do you know what I mean? It's not ideal, but where we were always landing, getting knocked out at the first round of the playoff, to me, you're just not able to get low enough to get that solid draft pick.
Right. Right. All right. Well, Christmas is coming up. What was there a present growing up that you got that was like what was like your favorite thing getting on Christmas Day?
Probably the Barbie dream house.
Was it like the big townhouse with the elevator?
Yeah, I think so. I just remember a Barbie townhouse and Charlie McCarthy. I don't know if you remember Charlie McCarthy. He was a puppet that you kind of like
okay.
Ventriloquism. I tried that for like a little while, and
you tried to be a ventriloquist,
right? Well, I mean, I was like 7, so I mean, how good of a ventriloquist I was, I have no idea.
You know what? Everybody knew you sucked at it, but everybody was like, "Very good, Allison." Oh,
right, good
I
job.
totally believe that's the
we
puppet.
didn't even see your lips moving.
Yeah, we not at all.
I have to say that one year we went out to San Diego. My parents, just like preface this by saying, like, my parents are super cheap, and like my mom is like hands down. I shouldn't say this because she'll listen to podcasts. My mom is cheap. That's all I can say about it. So when I was a kid, I wasn't like the kid who got like all the cool stuff that like all the other kids had. I never got any of those things. But we went out to San Diego one year to see the Steelers play out there. And we went to SeaWorld, and they had this giant stuffed walrus in the gift shop. And I wanted it so badly. And that is definitely the kind of thing my parents would never, ever waste money on, like not ever. And I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they got it home, but somehow they bought that thing. This was before you could have like shipped it off Amazon or something. So somehow they got that walrus and got it home. I might have been the most surprised they ever was on Christmas.
Did you fly?
Yeah. Yep. We flew. Yep. Flew from DC out there. I have no idea how they did. My mom was pregnant with my sister that year. I don't know if she stuffed it like up her dress and I just thought it was baby, or I have no idea.
That's probably it. That's probably it. It's like, wow.
But somehow they purchased it, got it from SeaWorld to our hotel, and then got it on the airplane and home without me knowing. I was so surprised.
Maybe it was Santa Claus.
I kept that walrus till I went to college. My mom got rid of it the year I went to college.
How big was it? Was it like really big?
Oh yeah, it had to be like 4.5 feet long. Like it was almost as tall as it was as long as I was tall at that time, because I could lay like against it like a body pillow because I wasn't fully grown yet. Yeah, it was really long, probably close to 5 feet.
Wow.
It was huge.
I would have been intimidated. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of stuffed animals when I was a kid, and I would line them up on my bed and I would practice goal line stands. I would pretend I was Walter Payton. I would leaping over the stuffed animals into the end zone.
I love it.
Walter Payton was my idol. I loved him so much. To me, he's still the great. Maybe Barry Sanders is better, but to me, I love Walter Payton so much.
So what was your best Christmas gift, Joe? You got to tell us.
I think it would be a bike, either a bike or Atari 2600.
Oh,
I played that.
Was a big deal back then.
I played that religiously. Oh my God. Which is funny because you look at it now and those like the worst, stupidest graphics ever. But at the time it was
not then. It was
revolutionary.
Oh yeah. Fantastic.
We didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. Hey, thanks so much.
Thank you.
I hope you have a great holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Safe and good and all that stuff. So
all right. And then run it off.
Yes. So see you.